So here I am at my table at the Sir John Hawkshaw in Cannon Street Station. Now, I'm actually sitting outside in the concourse because that pub is so small that if I was to make that video, then everybody in there would be able to hear me, because even though it's quite small, it only has 42 tables, and that's including these tables out here in the concourse. This is table number 35, so I presume there are maybe 25, 30 tables in there. It's quite busy. I'd say it's about half full, but if I was in there speaking like this, then everybody would be listening to me. So I thought I'd come out here where it's a little bit quieter. This pub is really unusual because it's probably one of the only pubs in the UK that doesn't have a toilet. So it's so small, it's basically got a small bar, some seating, and then to go to the toilet you have to come out of the pub, go all the way around the concourse, down to the other side where the toilets are for the station, down the stairs, and quite a long way. So all in, I would say it would take you at least 2 or 3 minutes to get to the toilet. And obviously you need to leave all your things in the place. Now, in terms of the opening hours of this pub, it opens at 8 in the morning, like most of the other Wetherspoons. You can get breakfast at 8 a.m. But interestingly, it closes at 10 p.m. So it's probably one of the earliest in terms of closing out of any in the whole of the chain. And the reason why it closes at 10 is because I think that's really when all of the last trains go from Cannon Street. Because really, the people who are drinking in this pub are commuters. When you've got a pub that doesn't have a toilet, that doesn't really encourage you to stay there all day drinking, because obviously you would need to go to the toilet at some point if you're having multiple pints of beer. And also, it's one of the only ones in the UK that doesn't have any sort of entrance on a street. So you actually have to come into Cannon Street Station, and this is within the concourse on Cannon Street Station. So I don't know what was here previously, but I assume it was a store, maybe just a store where you could buy some confectionery or drinks, or maybe it was a coffee shop or something like that. It's, it'd be big for a coffee shop. If you were thinking about it in Starbucks terms, it'd be relatively big if you think one of those ones. But it's that sort of feel to it. It doesn't feel like a pub that you would come to. Now, apologies, there's going to be some announcements because I'm sitting essentially in the station here. But this is a really interesting pub, because it is the smallest in the whole of the Wetherspoon portfolio. With only 42 tables, it means it's relatively limited in terms of the amount of people who can get in here. But at commuter times, when people are waiting for their chimes, it's perfect because they can just pop in, grab a quick pint if you've got 10 or 15 minutes to spare before your train is leaving, and then jump on your train, and hopefully there's a toilet on the train, because there won't be one in the pub that you can go to. And the reason why this pub is called Sir John Hawkshaw is because that's the guy who designed this station, Cannon Street Station, which was opened around 160 years ago. And interestingly, he designed it in conjunction with John W. Barry, who designed a lot of other stations, including Walham Green, where there is now another Wetherspoon. That's now recalled Fulham Broadway, that station. But the old Walham Green station is what he designed, and I've done a video on that as well. Maybe you can check that out. But I'm here for breakfast. I've ordered, because this is the smallest Wetherspoons in the whole of the country, I've ordered the smallest breakfast. So here is the menu. So as with all of the other pubs, there's a picture of Sir John Hawkshaw on the front, so there's always tied into the local history. So that's what he looked like. I mean, he's obviously long dead. He was around in the 19th century, the 1800s. So the menu here is a bit smaller than most others. Usually there's another fold-out flap, but it's just these particular bits. And I'm looking at the breakfast. So what I thought would be fun to do today is go for the smallest breakfast, well, the cheapest breakfast. And the cheapest thing that you can get on the Wetherspoons breakfast menu is porridge. Now, porridge, the price varies around the country. I know you can get it for £1.99 in some pubs. In this pub, because we're in premium part of London and I'm in a station, so everything's more expensive when you're in a station, it's £2.49 for the porridge. Now, that's a pretty measly breakfast to just have some porridge. So I've gone for all of the additionals. So I've ordered some extra banana, strawberries, blueberries and honey. So I've got all of the extra trimmings. Now, all of those things are 60p extra apart from the honey, which is 30p extra. And of course, I've gone for a cup of tea. Now, what's great about this is that it's refillable. If I wanted to, I could sit here all day drinking tea for £1.81. That's what I paid. They give you the cup, and then inside there is a filling station where you go in, there's lots of tea bags, and the machine can dispense coffee and hot chocolate and things like that, or hot water to go with my tea. So I've got my tea, I'm waiting for my porridge to arrive, so let's see how long it takes. I ordered it around about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Oh, here it is now, it's on its way, so here we go. Brilliant, thank you very much. Will I get a spoon? A spoon on it, thank you very much, thanks. Okay, I need to look at what I've got. Okay, so I've now got the porridge with all of my accompaniments. So let's start off with the extras. So I've got some blueberries. There's quite a lot of blueberries, quite a big pot of blueberries there. Pretty impressed with that. Bananas. So that, I reckon that is probably a full banana that's been chopped up. Strawberries, not quite as good. Got about 4 or 5 small pieces of strawberry, so not quite as impressive. And then the honey, which is 30p. Really big pot of honey, and that's quite a lot. That's probably 3 or 4 tablespoons of honey. And then here is the porridge, which is actually really hot. Now, we've talked about the plates before, but let's have a look at the plate that they're serving on here. So it's a nice blue pattern, lots of little flowers, classic Wetherspoons. Not what I would use at home, but lots of people love them. And then the bowl itself is just a normal blue bowl. Now, this porridge is very hot. It's interesting. It's quite thin, quite runny. So I'm going to have some of the honey, some porridge before I put anything in it. So let's see what it's like just neat. So that's definitely runnier than I would have if I was making porridge myself. Feels quite thin as well. Looks. I don't know whether it's been made with milk or water. It's really hot. Yeah, that tastes like very thin porridge. This is the sort of thing I would imagine that you get served if you've been sent to Siberia in Russia, to one of the gulags, the sort of work camps over there. This is what I'd expect to get for breakfast. And as porridge goes, it's not that great. I was going to say it was okay, but it's not that great. It's really thin. The oats themselves taste okay. I mean, they fill you up, but this feels more like a sustenance meal. A little bit like gruel when, if you think about Oliver Twist, please sir, can I have some more? This is the sort of thing I was imagining he was getting. So I'm glad I've got my extras. So let's chuck everything in there. So throw the blueberries in, got them in there. Let's throw the strawberries in, whack it all in. I don't know whether there's room for the bananas. There's actually a lot of banana. Oh, yep. So now got a lot of fruit floating on the top, and then let's stick some of this honey on because it does need a bit of flavour. Okay, let's whack all the honey in. In fact, oh, I might start running over the edge of the bowl. Not sure I can cope with everything going in there. Let's get it all in there because I bought it, I've ordered it. Might as well utilise all of it. Okay, so everything is now in the bowl. I'm not quite sure I can get my spoon in. Let's get a bit of banana and a bit of honey with the porridge and see what that's like. Well, it's quite tasty. It's a lot nicer. It basically just tastes like banana with honey on it. I have some of the blueberry. It's quite a watery consistency, so the porridge doesn't really add a lot of flavour. It's just adding a bit of sustenance. The blueberries are nice. I like the blueberries. Let's have some strawberries and blueberries, which is a classic combination. Yeah, basically the fruit is nice. I'll give Wetherspoons their due. The fruit is nice and fresh and tasty, so I'm happy to eat the fruit. The rest of it, it's a bit watery. It's a bit disappointing. I'm not sure I'm going to eat all of the porridge. Yeah, it's just not very appealing. It's just not very tasty, the porridge. everything else that I've added into it was tasty. In fact, I probably would have been better off just putting all of those things on a plate and just eating them rather than putting them into the porridge. I feel like I've just watered them down. Yeah, I'm just eating mildly warm fruit now. But having said that, this is relatively low cost. So let me just check on my app exactly what the total came to. I can find my phone. Here we go. So let's call up the Wetherspoons app now. As I've said before, the Wetherspoons app is absolutely brilliant because you don't have to go in, you don't have to go to the bar. You literally just have to pick out your table number, enter it into the app because it knows where you are. It'll tell you, and then you order and it gets delivered, and then you get a nice receipt as well. So the total that I've paid here, including the £1.81 for my cup of tea, cheers, unlimited tea, the total I paid is £6.40. So that means that I paid somewhere in the region of £4.60 for this. Now, I would say the fruit was worth it. The fruit was good, but I don't think the porridge is that good. It's a bit thin, it's a bit watery, it's not very tasty, doesn't really taste of anything. So this might be the cheapest thing on the menu, but sometimes you pay for what you get. I don't think that this is my favourite breakfast. In fact, it isn't. It's the worst breakfast I've had at Wetherspoons. Wetherspoons does do some really nice breakfast, but unfortunately this isn't one of them. The fruit is nice. I'm going to eat the fruit. So let me finish off the fruit and then we'll do a wrap up and I'll tell you what my score is for this Wetherspoons and its breakfast. Right, I have now finished my breakfast. I have to tell you, I didn't eat all of it. I didn't eat any more of the porridge. I had a few more blueberries, a couple of strawberries, but to be honest, they were all ruined a little bit because they were sitting in mildly warm water, which was basically what the porridge was. So that wasn't my favourite breakfast. Now, as I said, Wetherspoons is good for breakfast. I think it's actually one of the best breakfast places to go around the country, but I wouldn't recommend the porridge. Now, maybe it's just this particular Wetherspoons. Maybe the other Wetherspoons do their porridge differently, but I would doubt it because everything, as you know, is organised centrally. That's the whole concept behind what Tim Martin has set up. He's had a centralised purchasing function, so to keep the cost down, he buys millions of different items. So he would have bought tons of porridge, I'm sure, and then shipped it around to the 850 or so Wetherspoons. And I'm pretty sure that they will all have instructions as to how to prepare that porridge. So I'm guessing that it would taste the same wherever you go. I wouldn't recommend it. Even though it's the cheapest on the menu, you can get it for £1.99 in some places. It's £2.49 here. Not worth it. You'd be better off buying something else, investing a little bit more money and going for one of the other options on the breakfast menu. So unfortunately, I wasn't impressed with the porridge offering. The fruit was pretty good, but I can't really rank the fruit. I'm ranking the porridge. In terms of my score for the porridge breakfast at the Sir John Hawkshaw at Cannon Street Station in London, I'm going to have to give that 2 out of 10. It wasn't good. It's not something that I would buy again. I certainly didn't eat all of it. I wouldn't want to give it to anybody that I know. It's not like porridge that I've had. I quite like porridge sometimes, not very often, but it is. It's nice on occasions. This one was not nice, so I definitely wouldn't recommend it. It's a 2 out of 10, unfortunately, which is the worst score I've given to Wetherspoons so far. This pub's really interesting. It's very small. It's great if you're a commuter. Maybe it's great if you're a computer. If you're a commuter, it's a great place to come. But I think other than if you're passing through Cannon Street Station, I don't think anybody is going to come to the Sir John Hawkshaw as a destination venue unless you're trying to cover all of the Wetherspoons like I am. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you again on the next video.